Okay. So hello everyone and welcome to the 2024-25 Governor Civic Engagement Award Program Information Session. I'm Diane Gordian, and as the Civic Engagement and Language Access Coordinator for the Pennsylvania Department of State's Bureau of Elections, I oversee this wonderful program. So what I'm going to do is go over an overview of the agenda for today. So Ruby Moondog, the Executive Director of Governor Shapiro's Advisory Commission on Next Generation Engagement, will start us off with some introductory remarks. And then I'll provide an overview of the GCEA program, including eligibility, deadlines, and information regarding awards and recognition. I will also go over helpful resources that are available to you on our website. And then finally, Rachel Hadrick, Chief of the Division of Election Administration in the Department of State's Bureau of Elections, will offer closing remarks. But first, here's a little background on who I am. I have been with the Pennsylvania Department of State for about a year and a half now, since August of 2023. Previously, I was the Deputy Chief Clerk of Elections for Lehigh County, where my duties included poll worker training. I implemented and oversaw the student poll worker program, and that is actually how I learned about GCEA. I actually learned about this program from a teacher in Allentown. She reached out to me and she told me all about the program. Little did I know at the time that this would become one of the favorite parts of my job. As part of the Lehigh County Student Poll Worker Program, I went to high schools and did student poll worker training. Since my departure, Lehigh has expanded that student poll worker program to involve even more high schools. And this right here is definitely a prime example of county election offices and schools and teachers working together. And now I would like to introduce our next speaker, Ruby Moondog, for some introductory remarks. Ruby serves as the Executive Director of Governor Shapiro's Advisory Commission on Next Generation Engagement. After volunteering as a chapter lead with students for Shapiro during the 2022 election, she has had firsthand understanding of the importance of youth engagement in government. In her current position, Ruby works with students, stakeholders, and legislators across the Commonwealth to advocate for the next generation of Pennsylvanians. Take it away, Ruby.
Thanks so much, and happy Friday, everybody. We are almost to the weekend. I know I'm looking forward to relaxing some. But as Diane said, my name is Ruby Mundock, and I serve as the Executive Director of Governor Shapiro's Advisory Commission on Next Generation Engagement, which is a really long-winded way of saying that I help represent Pennsylvanians ages 16 to 26 here in the Commonwealth and the Shapiro administration. So I'll give a little bit of background about the commission and the work that we do. The commission acts as an advisory board for Governor Shapiro and his administration on all of the needs of 16 to 26-year-olds across PA. So if the governor or his team are ever working on any policy or, budget proposals or any sort of projects that have to do with the next generation of Pennsylvanians, he can come to us and ask for our feedback, our opinions, to make sure that young people have a say in these decisions and have a seat at the table. Since historically, we've kind of been looked over when it comes to these conversations, especially in decisions that were being made about us and that would directly affect us. On the flip side, from advising Governor Shapiro, we also like to make sure that young people across Pennsylvania are kept up to date with things that the administration is doing, that young people are aware of the services and the programs that the state provides, and also know that there's, people working for the government and elected officials that do care about what they have to say and what they think. And just making state government more accessible and transparent for young people. I know before I started in this role almost 2 years ago, I really didn't know what state government did. I really didn't know much about how the governor and his decisions affected my day-to-day life, even more than, the elected officials at the federal level. And so we're really, have an emphasis on making sure young people are aware of the importance of state government and getting involved at the state and local election, or excuse me, state and local levels. And part of that being by, participating in your state and local and federal elections. It's something that I've always been really passionate about, and making sure young people are aware of elections and why you should vote. Back in 2022, when I was a chapter lead for Students for Shapiro at Millersville, we held voter registration drives every single day from the beginning of the semester through the deadline to register to vote. Registering Democrats, Republicans, Independents, just making sure that, people were using their voice and getting civically engaged. It was a really great experience and kind of opened up a lot more doors for me, and, emphasized my passion for getting people civically engaged. So the commission definitely has a focus on civic engagement and voter education. We also do a lot of work in the mental health space. We've done a lot of advocacy for menstrual equity and getting free period products in our K through 12 schools. We've been doing a lot with workforce development and a whole plethora of other, issues and topics. Being young people, there are 16 to 26-year-olds in every community and with every background and in every single part of Pennsylvania. So all of the issues that are affecting Pennsylvanians are affecting 16 to 26-year-olds. So we just try to, advise where we can, advocate where we can, and make sure that young people are represented and have a seat at the table. I'm happy to leave my email in the chat, and Diane has it as well. So if any of you have any specific questions about the commission, I'm happy to answer. But really happy to be here and to be supporting Department of State and the GCEA awards. And thank you all so much for participating and making sure your students are civically engaged.
Thank you so much, Ruby, for that. All right. So now we're going to move on. And we're actually going to now talk about the awards themselves, okay? I would like to give you an overview of the GCEA program. So it was created in 2025 by the Departments of State and Education under the Governor Wolf administration. The awards celebrate the efforts of Pennsylvania high school students to educate and engage their fellow students in the voting process. It is critically important for the future of our Commonwealth and our country for young people to participate in our democracy. So right here, this is a quick glance at GCEA with an easy chart to follow. As you can see here, we have the school awards, and then we also have the student awards. We're going to go into what each of those are. So in schools that participate in the GCEA program, students hold registration drives so that their peers who are eligible to register to vote can do so. So schools that register at least 85% of their eligible students during the school year earn gold level awards. Schools that register to vote between 65 and 84% of their eligible students achieve silver level award status. The winning schools, they will receive a plaque from the Secretary of State at a recognition event. Since 2020, these events have been held virtually. For repeat winners, a plate will be issued to add on to the plaque. And I just wanted to quickly show you all what the plaque looks like. So when you win the first time, you will be getting this plaque here. It is hardwood. Um, so it's a nice wood. And then as you win, every year you win, you will get a plate that you can add on. Okay. And then when it's full, you could let us know and you could get another plaque to start. Now let's talk about how to get started, right? I get a lot of those questions. How do I start? Where do I go? What do I do? All right. So let's talk about it. So first you want to make sure that you go on our website to enroll your school in the GCEA program. No worries if you're not sure where the website is, I will make sure that you have that. Next, you want to make your plan, okay? You want to recruit your student volunteers and organize your voter registration drive. Here are some things to think about when you're doing that. Location, right? Big one. Where will you conduct your voter registration drive? What time, what date and time will you hold it? And when you're thinking about locations and dates and times, you also want to be aware of any voter registration deadlines, right? And then of course, you want to advertise that you're having this drive, right? So, to be to be eligible to register to vote, students must be US citizens. They must be at least 18 years of age or 17 years of age and will be 18 on or before the next election date. They also need to be a resident of Pennsylvania and their election district for at least 30 days before the next election. Use pledge cards to stay organized and help determine your percentage of eligible students registered. Pledge cards are available on our website for download. You can also request that they be sent to you. And the great thing about this program that I really, really like is that a student can actually fall under one of three categories to count towards your percentage. And these categories are one, the students who are registered to vote during your drive, right? Those that are registering to vote that day. Two, the students that are already registered to vote. All right. So if they already did it at the DMV or as soon as they turned 18, they're already registered, not a problem. That counts. Or the students that are not yet old enough to register to vote, but they promise that they will when they become of age. All the student has to do is take this pledge card, fill it out, and mark which situation applies to them. And those three categories count towards your your percentage. Now let's talk about running your voter registration drive, right? You want to make sure that you identify your student ambassadors. The student ambassadors are the student leaders and they set up and they run the registration drives. That peer-to-peer engagement is key. Next, you want to identify your eligible students. Target your registration drives by identifying the number of students eligible to register to vote. As a reminder, if a student will be 18 on or before election day, they can register now. The Governor Civic Engagement Award program also includes the Student Poll Worker Awards for individual students. So What does a student need to do to qualify? To qualify, a student must help organize a voter registration drive at their school and must also serve as a poll worker in the November general election. To serve as a poll worker, students must be at least 17 years of age, in good academic standing, and receive permission from parent or guardian and their school administrator. Serving as a poll worker is a great way to learn firsthand about the voting process and help your community. For the students that want to be a student poll worker, how do they get involved? The first thing you would want to do is contact your county elections office. What's so great about today's program is that we do have some county election officials here with us today, because they are the ones who hire and train poll workers. All right. You want to call your county elections office and see if they employ high school students as poll workers. If they do, make sure you submit the necessary information and applications materials to them. Many counties have poll worker and student poll workers information on their website. If your county elections office hires you to be a poll worker, you will work on election day. Okay. Remember, in order to qualify for the GCEA Student Poll Worker Award, you must serve as a poll worker on behalf of your county at a polling place in the November general election. Nominations for the award itself may be submitted by high school educators and county election officials. And all nominations, regardless of who submits it, must be submitted using the Department of State's online form. Please note that we also request a photo of the student and a signed consent form allowing us to share the student's name and the image publicly. This will allow us to recognize the student in the press and on our website and social media accounts. Here's some important dates. So the 2024-25 GCEA, the GCEA program runs from fall to spring. The deadline for 2024-25 is Friday, May 2nd, 2025. You want to make sure you have your submissions by then. And our virtual awards ceremony is right now scheduled for Friday, May 30th, and time will be determined later on. And right here we have our GCEA website, vote.pa.gov/GCEA. Resources, right? We have helpful resources available for your use. One of the things that we have is a guide to running a voter registration drive. Okay, definitely recommend you downloading this. Is very, very helpful and can assist you in making sure that you run a successful voter registration drive. There are also the pledge cards that I talked about. We have pledge cards online. You could download and print off as many as you want, or you can actually request them from us. And if you request them from us, they're actually going to look like this. And we also have a quick guide to the GCEA program, as you see here on this slide. So all of these documents are available on that GCEA website. When doing your voter registration drives, you can submit online or paper voter registration applications. You can get paper applications from your local elections office, from us, or you can download them off of our website. One important thing to know is that we offer our paper voter registration application in many languages. So we have Spanish, traditional Chinese, Bengali, French, Gujarati, Italian, Khmer, Korean, and Russian. So the forms in these languages are available to download on our website. The online voter registration application is available in English, Spanish, and traditional Chinese. More resources. So here are some other resources that can be helpful. So all these posters that you see here with the important dates, voting by mail ballot, how to apply for a mail ballot, all of these posters can be downloaded from our website. They are a part of our very handy ready to vote toolkit. This toolkit has tons of graphics and posters that you can download and print. And the great thing about it is that not only do they come in English, but they also come in Spanish and traditional Chinese. One other thing to know is that this toolkit is available every election cycle. Another thing that I also want to know for those students that are also on here today, when you go off to college, there is a toolkit in there that is geared towards college students. So if you feel like you want to continue your civic engagement efforts during your college years, that there is a toolkit that will assist you. Resources from our partners. So as part of your voter registration efforts, it is a it is a great idea to connect with your county elections office. All right. We are fortunate that we have so many that are joining us here on this call because this is truly a collaborative effort between the Department of State, the counties, and teachers, schools, students. So here's an important tip that I would like to give to teachers and administrators overseeing a voter registration drive. It might be helpful to establish a point of contact at your county elections office. Some counties do have a designated person that might handle all these things. Your go-to contact can answer questions and they can they can assist you when you drop off your paper voter registration forms at the elections office. And also teachers, educators. I also want to advise that make sure that the elections office, when you drop off any form, whether you're doing a drive online or dropping them off, I would recommend you contacting your elections office and make sure that they have your contact information, okay, in case they need anything. This can be helpful to the elections office, especially if there are applications that are missing that are missing in that are missing information. Okay. So you definitely want to make sure that you establish that contact. All right, so we're nearing the end here of the presentation. So now I would like to introduce Rachel Hadrick, Chief of Election Administration for the Department of State, to deliver our closing remarks. Rachel started with the department in 2021 as a senior advisor to then acting secretary of the Commonwealth, Lee Chapman. Thank you, Rachel. Take it away.
Thank you, Diane, and thank you all for being here. I know that this week is PA Civic Learning Week, and you've been engaging in different conversations about what needs to engage young people in learning about civics and our government. So thank you for taking a Friday afternoon, which might even be your lunch break, to join us and to get information. I'm assuming we're all here today because we realize that our democracy is an ongoing endeavor, right? It's not something that's set in stone, that we have to continuously work to maintain it, and that it's critical that we establish, and engage the next generation, our young people, in that democracy, right? And I am a living testament to the results of my family and teachers in my life who engaged me in understanding our government, our Constitution at a very young age. I was a little kid who was actually pretty wanted to vote before I turned 18, wished I had that opportunity, and would engage my family members with helping them understand who they wanted to vote for, where they needed to vote. And that's something that continued with me throughout my young adult life and became something I was so passionate about that I had to make it my career. I also had teachers who I was involved in a program called Constitution Works, where we would debate constitutional issues. We were given scenarios and we would debate them, and it allowed me to come to Harrisburg and meet with my state representative. So again, it was those teachers and those family members who taught me about the importance of being civically engaged, understanding how our laws and our government work at early as elementary school and middle school, that really got me kind of just hooked on civics and being engaged, and that continued throughout my life so that I would became an election administrator. Sorry. So we hope that we were just be able to give you a taste of what GCEA entails and kind of get your gears going, get your mind going on the ways that you can continue to work with your students in learning civics in your classrooms and in your offices. We know that in our modern age, we are not just giving our students education directly out of textbooks, but we're also looking for ways to take what they learn in the classroom, right, and apply it. So GCEA is kind of a ready-made program for you all to integrate into your classroom programs to give your students those experiences where they get to take what they're learning about American government or in civics and apply it in real life. Okay, I know that voting is a fundamental right. It's the base of democracy, but now I get to see how that works by, engaging my peers and registering them to vote, seeing maybe what some of the common things that come up with people, difficulties they have in registering, but then also seeing what it's actually like to work in a county office and work on election day. Help people come in, cast their ballot, see how that actually happens before they even may be able to vote themselves. In addition to that, direct learning component about civics, GCEA also provides students with opportunities to hone in on their leadership skills. You have your student ambassadors who are volunteers to register students to vote. Okay, what does it look like? How does it feel to directly engage with your peers, right? And try to, convince them and bring them along to want to participate. We know that so many people may feel there isn't a role for them in civics, right? That they don't need to participate. So what will those student ambassadors gain by engaging directly with their classmates and convincing them that it's really important for them to participate? If they're a poll worker, there's so many leadership skills about committing to working on election day, being there when things are set up and being there after things shut down, committing that time to their community, right? And dealing with different types of citizens that they might share a lot in common with and not share a lot in common with, and how the rest of the poll working team works together as a team to navigate maybe an issue that comes up at the polling place. So it's there are so many layers to having your students participate in the GCEA program, so many ways that they can get that extra learning and extra civics experience by getting to do something hands-on that we really hope that you, again, it's got your brains going about how you can integrate it into a curriculum or make it, an extra service learning project in your classrooms and in your programs. But we truly appreciate your time. Again, this is something that we're passionate about because we know that we need to engage our next generation, and we hope that you will convince your students to participate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. All right, so I actually gave myself a timeline so that this presentation didn't go over 45 minutes. So, and I think I am now at 35 minutes, so I made my time goal. So I just want to give you all a reminder that the deadline to apply for the GCEA awards for the 2024-25 school year is Friday, May 2nd. The virtual award ceremony again will be Friday, May 30th. If you guys have any questions, okay, please reach out to me. This right here is on my contact. That phone number that you see there, that is my cell phone number. You can call, you can text me on that number, email. You can email me, and this is our website where all the resources will be located. In the meantime, I will be sending out the resources, our links for counties. County, just to let you all know, I will have this presentation on our extranet, so you can access that if you'd like. If you want me to send you that directly, please let me know. And I thank you all for joining me, and I am going to stop the recording at this moment.